If you want to know how exactly you can impress the examiner in your IELTS speaking exam, make sure you keep watching, because in today's video, I'm going to cover 12 phrasal verbs you can use for any question the examiner asks you. Welcome to my live once again, guys. For those who are going to watch this live afterwards, let me know down in the comment section below that you are watching this live afterwards, because there will be a recording. So for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm actually a certified English language teacher in Canada. So let's get right into this video. So what are phrasal verbs? Phrasal verbs are pretty much words that can be used when you describe a certain situation, and phrasal verbs are often used in the English language by native English speakers on a daily basis. So the first phrasal verb I wanted to discuss is carry out. So sometimes this word could be confusing, because when you hear the term carry, you automatically assume it with a backpack you carry, or maybe you're carrying out a couch, but that's not the situation. That's not the way you use it in this situation. When you hear the word carry out, the exact meaning is to perform or conduct something. So, for example, the examiner may ask you, can you give me an example of a research study that you recently heard of, or that you recently did? So a perfect way to answer this exact question is to say something like, yes, I actually recently carried out some research studies on this specific topic, on climate change. So that way, if you are actually able to use a word like this would definitely help you. So, I recently carried out a study to investigate the effects of climate change, is a way you could use this particular phrasal verb. And second is set up. So, set up literally means to establish or arrange something. So, the examiner may ask you, can you describe a time when you had to set up an event or meeting? So, the way you could respond to this answer is say, yes, I actually remember I set up an annual meeting for work for all the entire executive team. So this is a way you can use this word in your answer. And the third phrasal verb you could use is bring up. Bring up literally means to mention or raise awareness on a particular topic while you are having a conversation. So maybe the examiner will ask you a question like, have you ever brought up a controversial topic during a discussion? So some things you can say is, yes, I remember I brought up the issue of pollution during the group discussion at our town hall meeting. So bring up is pretty much, like I said, something you mention or during a conversation more than any other time. So you can bring up a particular topic in an email, like maybe you are writing an email to a friend and you are bringing up the topic about maybe a certain plans you are hoping or you're anticipating to have with him or her during the summer months. So you are bringing up this idea. And guys, number 4 is figure out. Figure out means to understand or solve a problem. So you may get a question like, how do you usually go about figuring out complex issues or challenges? This pretty much means how you solve the problem, like I said. So, how exactly could you answer this question? So, a way you could respond to the examiner is maybe say something like, actually, one way that I tend to figure out certain issues is to do Google searches when I am not aware of the topic, because it helps me understand what steps to take to solve a problem. Maybe like buying a house, you don't know how to buy a house, for example, so you want to figure out the steps of finding a realtor, then going to a mortgage agent, then purchasing your home. So the way you figure out this process is by doing a Google search to find out what steps it takes to purchase a home. And guys, number five is, have you ever had to look into a suspicious situation or incident? And what did you discover? The word is look into. This means to investigate or examine something. So look into it, once again, pretty much means investigate. So one way you could use this word is maybe discussing an incident. Maybe you had a car theft in your automobile. So you could say something like, yes, I actually had someone who broke into my car and stole my watch. So this is a situation I had to look into with the police officers, something along these lines. So that way you are using the word look into, you are showing the examiner that you fully understand what is being said. And the sixth word is take up. Take up literally means to when you use the word take up, it literally means to start a new hobby or activity. Like I said, take up could be used when you are taking up a test, but in this situation, we are using it if you started a new activity. So, for example, the examiner may ask you, what made you decide to take up a particular hobby or activity? So maybe you can discuss things like, you can say, actually, from my recent visit to the doctor, my physician recommended that I take up a new hobby or activity of or physical activity at the gym because my blood sugars were too high. And number seven is give up. So when you hear the word give up, this means to stop doing something or trying something. So one question you may get with the word give up is, describe a time when you almost gave up on a goal but decided to keep going. What was the results? So, my own personal situation, I would say, is when I became a mother, I had the goal of going to school and I almost gave up because it was so challenging. But all I remembered was the end goal of graduation. So, that's what kept me going. So, as you see, I use the word give up and keep going. So, these are two words that I use from the question, which is totally fine because I didn't use it right in the beginning of the sentence. Rather, I used it later on in my response, which is so important because it does really show the examiner your confidence level of speaking English. And number eight is look after. Look after literally means to take care of someone or something. Sorry, I'm just going to drink some water here. So, who do you usually look after in your family? How do you take care of them? So, I'm sure we all take care of either our kids, maybe a pet, an animal, maybe our parents. So, the way you could answer this question is, I actually take care of my 4-year old and my 8-year old because they are quite young and they usually need some assistance with eating or bathing themselves. So I am always there to tend to their needs. And number 9 is run out of. Run out of you literally means to use up or finish, exhaust the supply of something. So, a question that you may get about using the word run out of is, have you ever run out of something important? Have you ever ran out of something important? How did you handle the situation? So here's a beautiful photo of my extra virgin olive oil that I love using when I'm cooking. So I remember once that I ran out of oil while I was cooking. And the way I handled this situation was I actually quickly ran to the store that is across the street from me and bought a small olive oil. So I turned off my stove and I went out to buy some extra oil. And guys, number 10. Number 10 is put off. Putting off means to postpone or delay something. So the examiner may ask you a question like, can you recall a time when you had to put off a planned event? What were the reasons? So maybe you could answer this question with something like, yes, I actually remember once I had to put off my child's birthday that I had planned and invited over 20 people with, because we all got really sick that the day before his planned event. So unfortunately we had to reschedule this exact event. And number 11, guys, number 11 is get along with. Get along literally means to have a good relationship with someone. So, what if the examiner asks you, have you ever had difficulty getting along with somebody? What could you say to respond to this question? You could say something like, yes, I actually have a coworker who's very difficult to get along with. However, uh, I managed to stay professional with him and just keep things very formal. So this is a way you can use get along with in your answer. And guys, last but not least is go on. Go on literally means to proceed or continue with something, something you are going to continue doing. Can you describe a situation where you had to go on with a project despite facing challenges? So something you continue doing even though it was difficult. So this is a very difficult situation the examiner is asking you about a particular time. So let's say you did not ever do a project with your colleagues and you don't know how to answer this question. So the best way to do this is, yes, you could turn it into like a life situation maybe. So you can say once again something like, yes, I remember when I was in school, I faced lots of challenges between trying to juggle household tasks and tasks from school. But despite facing my challenges, I decided to go on with my school and continue to push hard and finish. So these are ways you can use these phrasal verbs, guys. I really, really hope that this video helped you. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let me know if you like this type of content, because I'm trying to see what type of content you guys enjoy. So I make sure that I am satisfying you guys and helping you guys out. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.